I'm Hubert Scheer, General Manager of SiR Academy. In the track that I will discuss now, related to the SiR Academy training courses, we are now discussing how to identify the critical skills and responsibilities which are needed in order to create goodwill in an organization. And with me, I have again Olaf. Thank you for being with us.
Hi.
How do you go along with that kind of definition of, for instance, what skills are needed in order to have this process being successful?
Yeah, it's clear that employee training, talent for the war for talent are important topics nowadays. But very often we are kind of puzzled, and HR people, about what should we people train for. So sometimes even training programs can be kind of superficial or not really contributing to strategic success. So what we are looking at, of course, is opening a direct line of communication with the customer and actually creating a link between customer experiences and touchpoints, some kind of continuity. And the point is that staff needs to become aware of its responsibility in that ongoing story.
Yes.
So it's not so much like that, we often refer to as the moment of truth. But actually there's many moments of truth, and we actually connect them also through systems and analytics and so on. So the employee of the future is more aware of its place in that entire chain of interaction and communication. And as we will dive into some specific skills, both on the level of the individual, but also on the level of the team, because also the collaboration between people who are running either a single experiences or sequential experiences will change. So we have been identifying scientifically some of those skills.
So if you're talking about newer ways of recruitment, way of thinking how to develop people in their professional development, business development, training and so forth, is it also dealing then with what their role would be within teams? Because looking at service integrated relationship, SiR, it is going to be much more, I would say, an interdepartmental action and process.
That's it.
So how is that teamwork going to be?
Well, we will see that, of course, the traditional separation, for instance, between sales, marketing, and service and operations will start to disappear. And so they have a kind of a shared responsibility to land their message on that line of communication. So we will see that. But we should also not forget that at some point we will take feedback from the customer with which entity or subpart of the organization the customer has the best or end user has the best relationship. So it can very well be that some employees or departments are more preferred than others by the customer, and it could well be that we will route particular communications through the preferred relationship partner of the customer. So there are differences. We will be looking at specialization and matching. We will see that particular staff members will fit better with particular segments of end users, which will lead to different responsibilities. So we will, which is also good for the staff members. But we will also, staff members need to be aware of the fact that they don't need to be all-knowing. It can be when the customer is standing in front of them or calling them in a call center or in any service or in a sales situation, that it could well be that a colleague in an organization is actually better able to be responsive or interact with the customer. And what we, for instance, see is concepts like transactive memory, which we will discuss during the trainings, is that how do you make staff members aware of the relational skills and abilities of their colleagues? So where is their relative strength and weakness in this process?
Okay.
And of course it is important on an individual level to have relationship orientation. It's not just enough to customer ask something, problem solved, and so on. So we are looking for employees who are able to actually enact that ongoing story with the customer.
So we are here, for instance, in a typical environment of where you can expect traditional roles, so to speak.
Hospitality,
hospitality, check-in, and so forth.
Check out,
structured. Pay, so well structured. Does it mean that these roles will be kept, or will they have a change? in the future.
Yeah, that is clear. So now the challenge is that we will need to redesign our processes and the role that the employees have in this process. So typically, what we will see in a process like this is that staff will be trained to ask the right questions to clients, either spontaneously or through prompts. So they will be prompted through their service system actually to interact with the customer, either at the service level, the relationship level, or the collaborative loyalty level. So sometimes employees will, for instance, encourage customers more to take a more proactive role in this process.
Hospitality will become more a relation of intimacy.
Absolutely.
Will become more even further.
Yeah, so what you will see is that staff members, after a training, when we would take them here with us and just take them out of their job environment and train them, they become aware that they are not the first person in the organization or system who has a contact with the customer. The customer has been in touch with colleagues before them, and they need to be aware of that. And they also need to be aware that the customer will be in touch with colleagues after them.
Right, yes.
But also, when they are having contact with the customer, that they operate on 3 levels. They fulfill the need for service, so they need to provide a service. But in that process, they also need to build trust, intimacy, closeness, identification, involvement. And so these are additional responsibilities, but importantly, that does not entail more work. It is just an awareness that you should not forget to add the glue to those processes. And taking the employees in that process, while they are being surrounded by big data, predictive models, and being prompted with earplugs, systems, all kinds of applications and so on. So they will operate in a more complex environment, but which is also more stimulating in the sense that they feel that they are more responsible in a way. So in a way, their role is being more humble, but also more critical. And actually that rebalancing, what we found out in research, is that overall the net effect is positive.
So basically, what you're saying is that at a certain moment, hospitality or relationship with customers and end users is more like an attitude. It's much more like a culture. It becomes much more like a driven process, redesigned by all means, with a lot of tools to help them out to react immediately to the specific wishes and demands and desires of that customer.
I think where the focus of training programs will change is we have always trained for empathy, for authenticity, and all these aspects are really important. And it's not just through training; it's also through education. Your mother taught you these things, and they will remain extremely important. But indeed, like the skills become professional skills. And it is like how to deal with customer information, how to make the next step in the relationship, and so on, which is a responsibility and for which particular skills are being required. But I think also that shows from companies in the training programs that they take their employees more seriously. I think if you take employees to that level and include them in that, then employees have also a clearer view on how they can contribute to strategic success, which eventually will also benefit their own careers.
Excellent. So, if you want to know more about the fact that we want to implement SiR logic, service integrated relationship within a company, and what is required on the needed skills and capacities and so forth, I believe this chapter will teach you that. And I just ask you, just enroll for this chapter. Thank you.